Hey everyone, welcome to Founders 365 with me, Steven Haggerty. Today, I am joined by Mr. Alex Grundy, co-founder of Open Kitchen. How are you today, man?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Good. Thank you for coming on, and at short notice as well. I think we've handled this in the last 24 hours, which has been amazing. So thank you for that. First things first, massive congratulations on launching Open Kitchen. But let's dive into what you've done with Open Kitchen and why it's come about so quickly, other than the obvious right now.
Yeah, for sure. So Adam, my co-founder, and I were having a conversation a few weeks ago, just before I guess it started getting more and more serious, the virus. And he runs a business called Grundy, and effectively they book restaurants, and the restaurant industry collapsed on the 16th of March overnight. And he won't forget that date. I'm sure. We were chatting, a day or so after, so good friends, and we're saying, well, what does it mean, and we sort of talked around, well, how can we pivot? The restaurants are closed. What can we do to sort of help out? And how can we sort of help in this situation? And a couple of days later, Adam phoned me back and said, well, what do you reckon to this? And we came up with the concept of open kitchens. And it's all about, our mission is to help millions of British citizens get nutritious food without risking their lives. It's very much about helping those in need during this coronavirus crisis. So that was the concept. Due to having the restaurant platform, we've got a huge network of restaurants and also diners.
Yeah.
So that gives us a favourable position. If you think about it in three pillars, if you like, you've got the supply part, and then you've got the distribution, and then you've got the consumer of the product. So we've got a very good model to cook food, if you like, because of these restaurants.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where we got to, and in 12 days, we've moved mountains, mainly through the will of the people, if I might add.
How did you get that momentum going then? Because it's with you and Richard just having that conversation to those initial cogs turning to where you are now, where it's launched, you've got over 100 volunteers, all in 12 days, which is a feat that not many people can do. Let's face it.
Yeah. So I think what we did have, and this is, I think, is a tech platform that had capability that Adam had been working on for quite some time. So although you sort of look at what we've managed to achieve in 12 days, the technology has been developed over the last 12 months.
Had a good foundation.
Yeah, so we had the foundations, and the platform actually was due to launch for Adam's new business, if you like, in a few weeks' time. But that was obviously restaurant focused. So we've used the platform for a new purpose. So we've just pivoted. It's
Amazing.
All non-profit. Nobody's getting paid. Everybody's down tools, and said, right, we'll really get behind this initiative. And I think what we've learned over the last 12 days is there is a crisis. There's a real crisis around getting food to the vulnerable. Yeah. So OAPs, NHS staff, social care workers, the food banks. There's 2 million people in the UK that rely on food banks are all closed. I'm hearing horror stories about single mums who can't feed their kids. NHS staff who aren't getting fed on the ward. We're dropping off 1,000 meals to the YMCA. So I mean, it's unfortunate that, you know, people rely heavily on charities, and I guess the first thing to break in a crisis is the charities. You know,
Yeah.
they've literally all shut overnight because of they're generally run as well by volunteers. These charities,
Mm.
and quite often in the case of food banks, they're elderly volunteers. You know, OAPs who've got more time than the younger generation, and they're all now in isolation. So these charities
It's that domino effect, isn't it? When one thing starts, it affects so many other areas. And what I found the most surprising and the craziest thing is just the speed of the crisis happening in terms of food and welfare and key workers and, you know, vulnerable people that just aren't getting the resources that they need. Which I'm not sure what lessons we can learn, because after this, the world is going to be a very different place anyway. What's been the biggest struggle for you guys to reach those key people that you're trying to help?
Yeah, so we've pretty much only launched sort of a soft launch, if you like, on Wednesday. So we've been doing a lot of stuff manually to gain some traction in terms of PR. So we ended up in the Nottingham Post on Wednesday, which was great. So we've got the capacity to cook about 20,000 meals a day.
Wow.
You know, from a standing start, and we only started reaching out to, I guess, partners, if you like, at the weekend. So it's gone from, you know, 5 days. We've got the capacity to cook, you know, 20,000 meals a day. You know,
and that's like behind the scenes as well. Like you said, you've only
all
really
behind the scenes. We've not gone public yet. We don't. Well, we've gone public but softly, only really in a couple of regions, because we're just waiting for the tech to be, you know, perfect before we launch. But we've, you know, the Just Giving page is up. You can go and pledge to cook. So we've got schools involved. The Grundy Academy have been fantastic. They've got 35 schools and a potential to do 18,000 meals a day. We've now got 5 restaurants who are actually cooking today as we speak, and they're delivering. You know, we've got 200 meals going to the NHS tonight.
Logistically, how are you guys handling that?
Yeah, so our biggest challenge will be now is distribution and logistics of that. So, like I said at the sort of intro, is the supply of food and opening restaurants we're really good at. You know, Adam's been doing digital marketing for restaurants for, you know, 11 years. So we can open a restaurant and run their digital marketing. And for example, we've got 2 restaurants that sort of launched their Just Giving pages last night. One of them called Yamas and another called Trent Navigation. And within, you know, a couple of hours, they've, you know, raised a couple of £1,000 each.
Amazing.
We've got some, you know, so people want to help. The very simple concept is, if a restaurant is willing to open unpaid, in the exception of furlough there, that sort of complicates that statement, but effectively they're going in for nothing extra, and cooking for their community. So it's all very community driven. And then they're reaching out to their existing network, and typically a restaurant will have anywhere between 50 and 100,000 customer records of people passing through the restaurant. So very quickly they can get the word out there. And, you know, this has only happened the last 2 days, and we're seeing massive traction. And so that's the easy bit. And your question was, well, you know, what's the biggest challenge?
I'm guessing it's getting the food to the people, right?
So there's 2 big challenges, but we're sort of moving mountains every day, really. So the identifying the consumers, you know, you've got the big issue of GDPR. So the best way for us to get the food to the consumer is via what we're calling a wholesale consumer centre. So if we drop off product at the YMCA distribute it to the individuals, or we drop off product to the NHS, so we don't have to ask for people's names and so forth. We'll be doing that, but for now, that's our preferred route to market, if you like.
The simplest
While we work out the logistics over the next couple of weeks. But even then, there's a lot of manual effort that's going into that distribution, where we've got, you know, men with vans, or ladies for that matter, picking up goods and dropping them off at the YMCA. This will all be solved by the tech when it goes live in a week or so's time. But our biggest, I guess, request is that we partner with a wholesale distribution network.
Yeah.
And we're in touch with a number of, you know, CEOs at those big national firms that can effectively, I mean, we're, you know, within a few days we've got capacity to cook tens of thousands of meals. When we launch, we're probably going to have the capacity to cook hundreds of thousands of meals.
Yeah, definitely.
What we now need is a partner who can say, right, well, I can deliver them for you.
Yeah.
And this is who I'm going to deliver them to. So it's all coming together. And each day we have, you know, massive steps forward as we go through this. So, and obviously as a big one as well. That's our, you know, number one as well.
Exactly. So, you know, a month ago, 6 weeks ago, this wasn't in anyone's minds, right? It wasn't, you know, everyone was sort of still getting on with everything. How has that learning curve for you been in that pivot from, you know, basically going on to this and really jumping on it and getting this traction? You must have learned a lot in terms of personal and probably business wise as well.
Yeah, I think what is remarkable is the goodwill of the people. So, you know, you're never going to get a set of circumstances where, you know, we've got 100 odd people, it's probably 150 now, it's growing each day, that have dropped everything and are working for nothing, which is just absolutely outstanding. And, you know, it's remarkable. So, and then of course what we've got is these people have all got different strengths. So people are bringing in some, you know, like outstanding insights and outstanding networks. You know, we'll have one person join the group and they'll know, you know, the head of the council in this district, or they'll know, you know, the CEO at this bank, or they'll know. So it's all coming together through, I guess, people's existing business networks and their you know, their expertise, and we're just bundling it all together at rapid pace because there is that will to move fast. You know, we're not waiting, you know, 24 hours for things to be turned around. It's right there, it is in 5 minutes. You know,
it must be quite refreshing that as well, though. It must, as someone that has started this project just, you know, 12, 14 days ago, it must be refreshing the speed that people are reacting to get stuff done.
It's so refreshing. I mean, it's something I've never seen before or witnessed. You know, we're pinging stuff over to the team. We're working for free, and they're getting it back in half an hour. You know, I'll send over a Word document, for example. I'm not an expert in marketing, but we've got a team of marketeers behind us, you know, 50 of them. Wow. And they'll, you know, I'll send something over that will look terrible, and the copy will be awful, and they'll come back, you know, and, you know, like it's, you know, had weeks worth of work put into it, because, you know, we've got some real good people behind the whole initiative.
Amazing. Let's talk about how you plan to get the word about Open Kitchen out there more. You know, you mentioned utilizing the restaurants network as well. Have you got any other secret plans? Because, you know, realistically, you should be on This Morning and like Good Morning Great Britain and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So again, we're getting traction. So at the start of this week, we've been involved with a number of PR agencies. So our assets, if you like, our collateral's been sent over to the Telegraph, to ITV, and we're just waiting to hear back. You know, we made the Nottingham Post on Wednesday. We've got a very good story now. So this was all theory a few days ago, but we've actually started to serve meals to the vulnerable. And the first restaurant on board, Yamas, and then the Greenwood Academy. So there's a Nottingham Academy in Stenton got 100 meals yesterday. So we're now doing what we set out to do, which was to feed the vulnerable.
How did that feel when you knew those first meals left the kitchen?
I mean, it's just that it's unbelievable, really. It's just what's fantastic is, we've done all of this at risk, if you like. Is it going to work? Are we going to get food into people's mouths? And it's a huge relief to the team, and I say a huge morale boost when all of our efforts pay off. And and our first consumer, if you like, is vulnerable school children. So it's heartwarming, really, and it really gets you motivated. So now we're just like, we need to move faster. We need to move faster. The situation is getting worse and worse day by day. So it's all about pace now, and moving as quick as we can.
Is there any downside or risk to you for that pace, though, that you can predict?
Yeah, absolutely. What we don't want to do, and this is why, there's pace and momentum, but in terms of we're probably just going to hold off for a few days in terms of getting more restaurants on board. So as a result of getting the restaurants on board, it's minor things, but the restaurants aren't used to stocking containers to put food in.
Sure.
They're not used to labeling it. They're not used to the volume. We're cooking thousands of the things. They've got no freezer space, so we're ironing out those issues. We've found some freezer space at the schools. We've got labels printed. We've got containers being delivered.
Those small details that you don't even think about.
Small details, but I think the what we're able to do now is when we get a restaurant on board, is we've learned and we know exactly what we need to tell them. So we'll give them a heads up that this is what you need in order to be able to operate. So it's really, we don't say start cooking now. We'll say start cooking in a few days once you've got this checklist sorted.
And are the supplies or the top level logistics side for them to get those storage units and free and stickers, all that kind of, is that still open? Are they still able to get them?
So it's still very, so what's simple about our model is we're not building anything new. Kitchens are used to cooking and they're used to doing takeaways, but we're just opening it back up. And instead of serving, maybe they're doing more covers, if you like, but and adapting the menu, but it's not. And that's what's good about this. You hear about what the shielding program is doing for the 1.5 million. They're closing down football stadiums and have got the army in there cooking food for those 1.5 million. Our target is to be a lot broader than that, but we're not closing down football stadiums. So it just means that we can turn it on. Like I said, we've turned it on in a few days. And we've got capacity now to do 20,000 meals a day if we can find the logistics and find the consumers. So,
and location-wise, have you turned it on or slowly turning it on everywhere, or is it going to be city by city, town by town? How are you going to handle that side of things?
It'll be a national campaign, because once we've got, so we're piloting everything in Nottingham, and we've got Sheffield, which is just generally where we sort of ended up having the closest contacts and where we've got the most traction. But when we do sort of go full steam ahead, it will be national. And the idea is that we can reach, by having an end-to-end solution, we can sort of reach those that fall through the gaps, if you like. And that's the idea, really, is to try and make sure nobody falls through the gaps.
100%. So for anyone listening or watching on a replay or live, what can they do to help you and Open Kitchen?
So there's a number of things, really. So anybody who has good connections in the wholesale distribution area, then please do get in touch. So my email address is alex@openkitchens.co.uk. Because that might speed up some of our conversations that we're having. Then, of course, there's, personally, you can go to our Just Giving page and you can donate. And you can also share this on social. So if you go to, my LinkedIn or Facebook, you'll see material and content that's easily shareable, and I can share it with yourself, Stephen. So they've got a 15-second promo at the moment it's all about raising that awareness.
Mm.
So when we turn, you can go to the site and you can register interest. You can also share as wide as you can.
That's it.
Because the more awareness out there, then I think the quicker we fill these gaps and the quicker we get food to those who need it most.
Yeah, 100%. I know it's early days, but do you think Open Kitchen for you guys now is going to be something that is going to last longer than the crisis? Is this going to turn into something bigger?
Yeah, so I think we're after corporate sponsorship. We want a big ticket. We want millions to get this going nationally. And the beauty of our model is we've already sort of thought through how this carries on.
Yeah.
And if you think about the restaurant business, a lot of restaurants tend to run at a loss Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they're busy over the weekend and the back end of the week. So they always have, if you like, that surplus capacity.
Yeah.
And that's what this model is doing now. I mean, they're closing their entirety, so we're tapping into surplus capacity. And there's absolutely no reason that, when COVID is over, hopefully sooner rather than later, but the reality is it's looking more like 6 months than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They're going to have that surplus capacity. I don't think the restaurant trade will change. They're going to have that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday where they're not doing as many covers.
Yeah.
So, let's put that to good use. Let's make the restaurant pillars of the community again. Let's get them known to be helping the community. And that's what this is all about. It's not only helping those who need it most. In the long term, it's making the restaurant, a pillar of the community again. So I think that there's a model here that this could continue, and we hope it does.
Oh, massively. I think the mind shift of pretty much everyone has not converted back, but has definitely just brought out this such a community feel that people want to help each other, which is lovely to see in such a unknown time that we have right now, and one that most people have never had experience in their life. So this is a first for pretty much everyone. A first for restaurants, a first for an app, right? If this was back in World War II, you wouldn't have had an app, but now we can do things in a quicker way. So I am just thrilled that you are doing this, Alex, and it's such an amazing mission that you guys are on. And I've already got some intros in mind that I'm going to introduce you to straight after this podcast. But let's leave the viewers on those contact details once again for them to be able to reach out, help Open Kitchen in the best way possible.
Yeah, so please do get in touch. The best way is via email, and you can go to alex@openkitchens.co.uk. or you can go to contact@openkitchens.co.uk, and we will get right back to you. So any intros, I mean, we've got lots of decks that set out the model, what we're doing, how we're doing it, and I can share them with you. And what would be great is if you get in contact with me, I can give you the background, and you can then share that with your network, particularly in the business community. Because I think, the funding side of things and the logistics side of things will be solved by the business community.
It's no, Alex, you're doing an amazing thing, and I really do take my hats off to you, and I really hope that as many people can help you so you can help as many people as possible. So thank you for doing this from me and every single person out there. Really, we appreciate it, and we appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. And thanks everyone for listening to Founders 365 with me, Steven Haggerty, joined by Alex Grundy.
Thanks all.